I said, empty your mind.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's lesson. Now, if you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, 1-inch punch that bell notification, give the video a thumbs up if you can, and feel free to leave me some comments and questions down below. I'd love to hear from you. Now, I'm gonna answer a question that was asked today. This question was, or sorry, yesterday. The question is, if you've been practicing Wing Chun for a certain period of time, and you're not a beginner, but you're not an expert, and let's say a thug who has no fighting experience starts a fight with you, and say they're swinging, will the Wing Chun practitioner be able to intercept every single punch thrown, or will he have to take some in order to use some techniques? Okay, every fighting scenario is different. If I lined up 20 thugs here with no fighting experience, they're all gonna probably come at me in some different fashion. And so it's very important, and just to make this very, very simple, if you're a Wing Chun practitioner, let's say intermediate, or we're talking about like intermediate, not a beginner, not an expert, and the person you're fighting is a thug with no fighting experience, you should be able to devastate them and dominate the situation. Does that mean you will never take a hit from them? No. Gotta be realistic. You might be taking a blow, all right? And that's where sparring comes in, and it's very important to spar, because when you get hit in sparring, you know how you react once you've been hit. You know how you react once you've been hurt. And you kind of get over that whole fear concept of fighting and getting hit in a fight, getting hurt, and you learn to keep fighting. In any battle or combat situation, if you're hurt, you have to lick those wounds after the fact. You have to keep fighting, you have to finish solving the problem at hand, be a problem solver, and then you can deal with any injury you sustained during the conflict. But it's something you have to address after the fact, not during the fact. Now, if you're, and I hate to use the word block, deflect, whatever, if the punches are coming and somebody's just throwing an onslaught of punches and you're kind of trying to deflect each one and block each one, and you're just letting them punch and all you're doing is trying to deflect or block, and I don't use the word block, but I am in this example, eventually you're gonna wind up getting hit, right? If somebody was like in karate, they're block, and all I'm doing is trying to block, and eventually you're gonna get hit. That's why you want to, as soon as possible, turn the table, right? As soon as that first punch comes, you slip it and attack. You deflect and attack. You simultaneously counter an attack and put an end to their punching. The sooner I can do that, the better situation I'll be in. If I'm just letting them swing wild on me, eventually one of those punches could clearly tag me, right? So to answer your question, yeah, you can wind up getting hit before you can use another technique. They could catch you off guard, or like I said, if you're just thinking you're gonna just keep blocking and never turn to the offensive, you're always on the defensive, they could eventually back you up into something and you can wind up getting overwhelmed and hit. So you need to cut that angle and get on the offensive as soon as possible and put an end to their attacking, right? An end to the wild swinging. So I hope that answers your question. This is why sparring is of the utmost importance, because it teaches you how to deal with these situations. You learn what you're capable of, and you get to spar different people of different sizes, different skill sets, different arts, and you get to experience a wide variety of combat scenarios, and you'll know how you're gonna deal with each one of those scenarios. Best thing you can do in that situation, and once again, just to define this, if they have no experience, I think you would dominate them, right? That's one of the wonderful things with chain punching. If I start ripping off these chain punches, let's say they get lucky, they defend 1, 2, but as I'm moving in, usually 3, 4, 5, 6 are just coming right in their face, right? That's the cool thing about the chain punching. You wind up just overwhelming your attacker. It's like a machine gun, punches coming right in at you, and it totally overwhelms your attacker. So there's no scenario where I could just say the Wing Chun practitioner would get untouched, right? There's no fighting scenario where I could say that's a guaranteed to happen. And I can't stress enough, that's why you have to spar, so you understand what it's like if you get hit, how you react, and how to keep on fighting. Great question. Keep the questions coming. More questions, the merrier. I love answering people's questions. So thank you for your time and thank you for asking that question. Now let's go ahead and start with the Sil Lum Tao form. I want everybody to get their feet together. Take a breath in, hands at your side, shoulders relaxed. Now before we get started, double check, are your feet on a straight line, knees in, back straight, hands not here but relaxed at your side, space in between. Define your center line. You're starting with your left hand. All right, so remember, if you've learned the Sil Lum Tao form here and you want to do a private lesson with me on Zoom, we can do that. So just email me at masterwahnish@gmail.com, same name as the channel, masterwahnish@gmail.com, and we will set up a time and I'll do a private lesson with you on Zoom and we'll record it for the channel as well. So you'll be doing the form and I'll give you all the pointers and it'll be a free private lesson for anybody that's interested. I think it'll be a great experience. It'll be a lot of fun for everybody. And I also think it'll be great for people to see that you really can learn your forms very well online. That's why I originally created Wing Chun Online years back, and in 2013 I filmed the entire program, and everybody that went through that program really got the system of Wing Chun down in a lot of detail. And everybody that went through that program absolutely loved it. So if you're interested in that, please do me a favor, email me and we'll set up a time to do a Zoom session. It'll be a lot of fun. Now, actually I did a Zoom session the other night with my students. We're gonna do it again probably in the next week, and I asked them maybe next time we can record some of that Zoom session for a little video clip, and you can meet some of my students, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Wing Chun and things that they liked about the art. So that could be really interesting as well. Now, let's just briefly go over some of the Chum Kue Form. And what I want to show you before we get started with the Chum Kue Form is I'm in a front stance, and the form, we start off with this double bilji, which is a finger thrust movement. And what I'm doing is my fingers are going on a straight line to a dot in space. So if here's the dot, and then my wrist comes up. And why my wrist is coming up when you do a finger strike, it's like the fencing, when somebody's fencing, you always see their sword, their fencing pole kind of twist and tweak, and they do that so it pierces the armor. If somebody took a plate of armor and they took their sword straight in, it would snap. So what they do is they go straight in and then they tweak it. And that's why you always see them bend that sword in, because that way they're piercing the armor and they're not snapping the armor. We're doing the same thing with the finger strike. So when my finger strikes are coming out to a dot in space and then my wrist rolls up, all too often I see people kind of doing all sorts of things, but just picture a dot, your fingertips are headed towards that dot, and then your wrists come up at the end. So we're starting with this motion here. Now, I filmed the entire Chum Kue Form in extreme detail, broke the whole thing down piece by piece, section by section. I will probably pull that out. I'm just gonna go a little bit over the first set with everybody today. So what we're gonna do is, it's the same introduction as we do in every form, right? It's the same introduction with the intro part and then the punch set. So what we're gonna do right now is get in our front stance. I wanna make sure my feet are in the camera. Make sure I'm in front of the camera. Feet on a straight line, knees in back straight. So picture we just did this, we did the punch set, and then now we're gonna go here and thrust. Bring your hands back, thrust. Once again from the side view, here. So we'll start feet together. Define your center line. Left hand first, I'm your mirror. And then you're gonna do the thrust. So you'll be going to a left neutral. I'm in a right neutral, I'm your mirror, bong sao, wu sao. And we did this the other day. So if you practice that, then this seems real easy now. So let's go back to our front stance. Thrust out. Your left hand drops to the bottom, your right hand comes on top. And then when you go to a left neutral, your left hand will be in bong sao, your rear hand is in wu sao. Now your rear hand drops to the bottom, on top, and you switch your stance. Wu sao comes to the bottom, bong sao drops on top, switch your stance. Okay, one more time. Just gonna do this a little bit quicker, do the best you can to follow along. 1, 2, 3. Kick, plant. All right, let's do that one more time. Thrust out. Left neutral. Right neutral. Left neutral. Keep your feet where it is. Just bring your hands like you're in a neutral stance facing this way. Do this wide-ish hien sao. Front kick out, plant into a right, or sorry, you'll be in a left forward. And then we'll go back. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Kick, plant. Now, the thing with the Chum Kue, if I was going to do, that's just half of the first set. Then when I go, I'm doing the other side, right? So what I usually do when I'm teaching students in a classroom environment, I show them the first half of the first set. Make sure they have that down really well, and then I tell them to figure out the mirror side. It's the same exact thing, just on the other side, meaning instead of going to your left neutral, when you do it the next time, you're going to the right neutral. And that way their brain kind of hurts and has to really think about everything, and they really have to study and think about the form. And then in class we go through it all together. So I don't just leave you hanging there. I just want you to think about it. If you own one half, you can just flip it and get the other side down. Some students find it really easy, other just takes a little bit more time, but everybody gets it. So let's go one more time. Hands here. One, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's the first half of the first set of the Chum Kue. And I know you're like, wait a minute, you lost me there. That's okay. Like I said, I break this down into pieces. I just wanted to give you the whole picture of the first half of the first set. Today, all I want you to really work on is this. 1, 2, 3. Kick. And then we'll go back and start adding on to that and building onto that. Well, I think that's going to be it for today, and I appreciate you joining me. And I feel like they're just kind of like I'm baby stepping you guys in the Chum Kue form. I feel like that's what they're doing to all of us, and I really saw so much of this coming so far in advance, but I feel like the 15 days was just a little warm-up, baby step into now 30 days and to what clearly could be 30 more days. And this could be a bit of a long road. So I don't know if I will continue posting every day. I will do my best. It's just going to be a little bit challenging with some things coming up around here. But I will certainly do my best, and I will certainly be posting frequently. So if you see me kind of disappear for a day, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I will be posting on a regular basis. I just think if this is gonna go on for what could be 60 days, 70, who knows? I just don't know how frequently I'll be posting. I do enjoy doing this. I really enjoy doing it, so I do want to keep it up. It's just a lot of things going on, wife being in the hospital with the kids. It's just a whole long story. So, but I will certainly do my best to keep the lessons coming. And I do look forward with, working with everybody as much as possible. Please keep the questions coming. Do me a favor, stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope to see everybody soon. Thank you for joining me today. Have a good one.